Hey guys, welcome back. So today I am coming to you with another installment of the Cozy Up To series that I started. I started this a couple of months ago actually, and it's essentially a roundup of cozy mysteries broken out by theme. If you guys are new around here, I am a huge fan of the cozy mystery genre, and one of the things that I love about it is that you can find a lot of books based around specific genres or hobbies or locations, just everything under the sun. So that said, what I wanted to discuss with you guys today revolve around the jobs in cozy mysteries, rather the jobs of the amateur sleuth that the story features. Not just any job, but more specifically jobs that I think are interesting and unique. Not your run-of-the-mill jobs that you're probably familiar with in a lot of cozy mysteries. So for example, nothing to do with being a gardener or a librarian or a writer. I know these are very popular themes in cozy mysteries. Personally, I love all of those, more specifically the book ones, but I wanted to switch it up a bit and talk about ones that I think are more unique, and I don't see a lot, if any, of them other than the specific series that I'm talking about. So that said, as usual, you know the deal. If you have any recommendations or you have read any of these, please feel free to let me know in the comments below so that we can talk about them. You guys know I'm always looking for recommendations, and yet I will keep telling you until the end of time, or at least until I stop making these videos. So anyway, let's jump right in. So first, I want to talk about the bibliophile mysteries. I know, I just said that there are a lot of mysteries surrounding heroines or heroes that have a book theme, but I wanted to talk about this one because it features a book restorer, and that's a job that I haven't come across other than in this specific series. It's written by Kate Carlisle, and it features a book restorer named Brooklyn Wainwright. If you guys are familiar with my channel, you may have heard me talk about a few of her books in the past. Right now there are 14 books in the series, and just a little side note, I love stumbling across series that have a huge backlog, because if I enjoy the first book, then I can just dive into the backlog and just be reading for weeks on end. So that's why I wanted to kind of let you guys know how many books are in the series. So back to the bibliophile mystery. So yes, our girl Brooklyn is a book restorer. What's interesting about that is that she ends up being put in different situations that, say, your typical librarian or writer or other job that involves books may not otherwise find you in. There have also been books where she has found herself in some kind of like festival or auction or something along those lines. But what I really like about this in terms of the book restorer profession is that you can tell that the author has done a great job doing her research. She gets really detailed when she shows Brooklyn actually doing her day job of restoring books. And so I've actually quite frankly learned a lot about book restoring, and it's something that as a book nerd is fascinating. And so if you are interested in that kind of thing, or you like cozy mysteries that deal with the book genre but kind of go against the typical grain, definitely check that one out. Okay, so next up we have the Art Lovers Mysteries. This one is written by Haley Lind, aka Juliet Blackwell. You guys may know her if you are familiar with cozy mysteries, because under her regular pen name Juliet Blackwell, she has a ton of very successful cozy mysteries. But as far as this Art Lovers one, I really like the concept of this because our main heroine is actually an ex-art forger, and she actually works as a faux finisher nowadays. And so the first book, Faint of Art, starts out with her kind of being pulled back into her previous life when she was an art forger. And I mean, I just think that is so interesting. I love visiting museums. Obviously, I love art and the descriptions that the author has used when describing both her past as an art forger as well as kind of the work that she does today, her honest work of being a faux finisher, is really interesting. Depending on which book that you read, I know the first book, for example, is a good one. You get to dive into her past world, or rather her current world at this point, of art forgery. And so again, with the details of her trying to point out what makes an art a forgery or what specific strokes or details to look for. I mean, it's just something that is fascinating. And I don't know if it's because I'm a fan of movies like Ocean's 11 or the Thomas Crown Affair, where you have like forgeries and switcheroos, but if you are a fan of stuff like that, definitely check this one out as well. Alright, so if you guys have been around this channel for a while, this next suggestion will probably come as no surprise because I have mentioned it countless times on my channel, and that is the Meg Langslow series by Donna Andrews. There are a ton of books in the backlog for her. I believe at this point we're up to like 27. Yeah, I think the 27th book just came out, but I've mentioned before that what I love about this are the bird pun titles, but as far as the purpose of this video, let's talk about Meg's job, and that is that she is a blacksmith, which I definitely think is interesting and something that I have not come across in any other, not just cozy mystery books, but any other book that I have read. Now, granted, as the series goes on, Meg kind of gets more involved with like having a kid and becoming a mom, and so her blacksmithing business falls by the wayside just a little bit, but it's definitely prominent. The scenes that we do get with Meg and her blacksmithing are very detailed, and what I love that the author does is that she doesn't necessarily gloss over the details to where you can tell that she may have just kind of like Googled one or two things, but again, she's very precise with the descriptions and making sure to let the reader know that Meg isn't just a waif of a woman, because naturally, in order for you to be a blacksmith, be it male or female, you have to have a lot of arm strength, which our girl Meg clearly does. So if not for her being a blacksmith, just check this series out in general. It is so excellently written. I love the family element. She lives in a small town, and you've got that whole zany side character thing happening. So all around, I definitely think it's a great series, and these blacksmithing kind of just adds another element to make it stand apart from other cozy mysteries. Alright, so I'll be honest, I would be remiss if I didn't include this next one in my list, simply because even though it's popular, it's still relevant, and that is Janet Ivanovich's Stephanie Plum series. It starts off with One for the Money, and she's written about 26 books so far, and our girl Stephanie Plum is a bounty hunter, albeit not a great one, and that's kind of what adds to the fun of these books. You're essentially following along with somebody who is clearly not a classically trained bounty hunter. They kind of fell into the profession, and so in addition to kind of getting up to no good and poking her nose in things that she probably shouldn't have, she's accompanied by a quirky cast of characters. I think she's got like a grandma, her ex-prostitute admin secretary. It's been a while since I've read the series. I think I stopped on like the 15th book, but I remember thinking that the bounty hunter was a good choice because, like I said, Stephanie Plum, when she's being described, is definitely not somebody who you would match with being a bounty hunter, and so it's fun to see her kind of like stumble through the job and yet still come out at the end successful. Okay, so our next heroine is a stained glass expert, and if that isn't unique, then I don't know what is. The first book in the Webb's Glass Mysteries, which is the name of the series, is called Pain and Suffering, which, side note, let's take a second to appreciate the puns. I love a good cozy mystery pun, but we've got our girl Savannah, and after her father dies in the first book, or rather I guess before the first book, she leaves where she is currently living and goes back to Florida to work in her family's glass shop, and so thus she kind of finds herself back where she started. And so this is very interesting to me because I only recently came across, and I don't even remember how I came across it. If I had to guess, I was probably falling down the Amazon Kindle rabbit hole where it like recommends you one book and then you click it and then you see all the other books that it recommends to you. Anyway, the concept of her being a glass expert is definitely something that I find fascinating. I don't know jack about glass, so for some reason learning about it is something that I find interesting because you get to see the different descriptions of the different kinds of stained glass, because I gotta be honest, I only know about like the pretty panes that you see in the church windows, but these books naturally go beyond that. And so what I like about this is that it's a very specific subject. I know there are some cozy mysteries where the amateur detective is, say, like a home renovator, and that naturally has like windows involved, but this is something that's very specific. It is a unique art form that I have clearly learned about from this series. And so if that's something that sounds interesting, or you like those home reno, home decoration, cozy mysteries, but are looking for like another spin on it, or just something new kind of within that subgenre, check this one out and let me know what you think. Oh man, so this next one I have to say appeals to the travel bug in me because it is called the On Location Mysteries. There are about 10 books in the series, which is perfect because you guys know I love a good backlist. The amateur sleuth in this one, her name is Kate. She is a location scout, and that just sounds like a dream job to me. I think it's super fun to be able to have an excuse to go from location to location, especially you know that they're going to be nice locations since you are looking for ones that have filmable qualities, and that's exactly what our main heroine Kate does. She goes to different places, and in the first book, I believe it's called Murder in the English Countryside, she actually travels to England to look for an upcoming location for a Pride and Prejudice reboot that they are going to film, and so naturally she kind of falls into trouble. But I mean, to be able to have an excuse to go to these different locations sounds so fun. And so what's great about this one is that you kind of have the best of both worlds because you've got the interesting job of being a location scout. I definitely have not seen any cozy mysteries that have this other than this one. And then secondly, you also kind of get that that travel cozy mystery. Again, I know there are other ones out there where they're like set on a cruise ship, or maybe the person is like living in an RV or something along those lines. But to use travel location as a reason for traveling, I think it's just such an interesting spin that it's definitely one that I'm going to be checking more out in the future. All right, so I had to put something food related on this list, and I was kind of debating about it because a lot of cozy mysteries, if you guys are familiar with the genre, they feature food of some sort, whether it's like a bake shop or a coffee shop. But I thought this one was just interesting enough and just different enough to warrant being on this list, and it is called the White House Chef Mysteries. So definitely something that I think is unique enough to kind of stand out from the other ones. There are about 10 books in the series, and the first one is called State of the Onion, which, again, the puns, I'm such a sucker for them. But what's really interesting about this one is that we're getting a different perspective on the chef category, because the White House aspect plays a huge role. And so unlike the other cozy mysteries that take place in just regular small town bake shops or coffee shops or whatever, we're getting an insider's look at like White House goings on. It's kind of like cozy mystery meets West Wing. I mean, granted, the dialogue is probably not going to be so specific as West Wing, but I think it's definitely something that's interesting. So if you are a fan of West Wing and you like that whole like political side plot, then this might be one that you might want to check out, because I say that it would combine the best of both worlds. Okay, last up, this specific series has about 10 books, so you got a nice backlog to dive into, and it is called the Mom Zone Mysteries. Now, don't be fooled by that title, because the main character in this one, her name is Ellie. She actually wears a bunch of different hats. If I am not mistaken, she used to be in the Air Force. Now she is a stay-at-home mom, but she's also a professional organizer, which is something that I haven't come across. Like I mentioned a few books ago, I have seen cozy mysteries where it features like home renovation or home decorating or construction, but as far as professional organizer, I mean, first of all, sign me up. I'm a huge Marie Kondo fan, so I imagine somebody who is like that, but being in a cozy mystery and solving crimes is just something that is so unique that I think it definitely warrants a place on this list. And what I like about this one is that it kind of, and I find, just side note, I find that this happens to me a lot in cozy mysteries depending on the topic that I choose, but I find that when I read about organizing or when I read about, say, like delicious treats being baked, I get the urge to want to take that on. So reading about somebody organizing does this weird psychological thing to where I inherently want to clean something, which is definitely a plus. But then on the flip side, if I'm reading like a bake shop mystery or something dealing with like coffee and scones, I am just like fiending for it. So tread carefully if you're like me, but if you enjoy cozy mysteries that again have a unique job for the character, check this one out. I haven't seen another one like it, but if you have, please let me know in the comments. So that about wraps it up for this list, and I hope you guys got some great suggestions, especially for you cozy mystery lovers out there. And if you've never read a cozy mystery, let me know in the comments, because depending on what you like or what your hobbies are, I'm sure I can recommend something for you, because like I said, what's great about the cozy mystery genre is that it features such a wide span of different jobs and hobbies and locations that there's something for everyone. So anyway, please like and subscribe this video if you enjoyed it, and if you're new around here, drop a quick comment to say hello, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!